Today we're going to talk about gratitude, which is an attitude of mindfulness. And we are going to talk about how it elevates your leadership in business. Gratitude is really a cornerstone for me as I think about my journey in leadership in business. And during the most turbulent times, I have had to pause to appreciate all of the blessings, the big and the small, and it's just replenished my resilience and vision. I was raised in a home where it was such a part of our culture to wake up and give thanks and gratitude. Although I will say that many people conflate gratitude and thankfulness, and so we'll get into that a little bit. I'm gonna dive into a little bit of the science behind what gratitude does to your business, your team, your customer relationships, and then talk about how leaders soar, really, when they establish this culture of appreciation and how it affects performance. So I actually was talking to Shankar about how should we do this. I really want everybody to have a baseline just for your understanding of gratitude versus thanks. I decided to ask you a few questions. If you would give a thumbs up if you believe what I am asking you is an expression of thanks, or a heart if it is gratitude. Thumbs up for thanks and a heart for gratitude. All right, let's get started. After a company meeting, you nod and appreciate your team for their input. Thanks or gratitude? Thanks or gratitude? You nod. All right, see a lot of hearts. So it's actually thanks. It's thanks. It's an expression of thanks. Late at night, you find yourself reflecting on an employee or a team member who consistently goes above and beyond, not just for the company, but also for their peers, creating a cohesive team atmosphere. Thanks or gratitude? Thumbs up for thanks, heart for gratitude. All right, see some hearts and a thumbs up. Okay, so that is an expression of gratitude. That's an expression of gratitude. A colleague sends you a report you asked for, and you reply with a quick acknowledgement. Thanks or gratitude? Thumbs up or heart? Yes, we're getting it. That is an expression of thanks. After a challenging fiscal quarter, you remember the vendors and partners who showed flexibility and understanding, helping your business stay afloat. Thanks or gratitude? Thumbs up or heart for gratitude? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a few more after, and we can see how well we really get this concept and this idea. So the first thing you'll probably notice is the depth of emotion, right? That's a difference between gratitude and thanks. Stranger holds the door for you at a cafe, you say thanks, right? And that's thanks. When you're recovering from an illness, you reflect on the support your friends provided or your team provided, your partner, even your business partner, and you feel this deep emotional appreciation for their presence in your life. So the depth of emotion, okay? I don't know if I would go to that space and reflection for somebody who opened the door for me. I would be very appreciative and thankful, but it's a different depth of emotion than it is with gratitude, right? So duration, that is also something. Back to the restaurant. So you thank the waiter for refilling your glass. That's thanks. Gratitude, months after your mentor helped you understand something or were there for you during a challenging time, you still feel grateful for their patience and their dedication. So you see the difference in duration, right? And then general versus specific. After a meeting, you say, "Thanks for your time." Gratitude, a mentor spends years guiding you, and you express, "I'm grateful for the wisdom and guidance you've shared over the years." It's a lot more specific. And maybe you could even talk about a moment when they were guiding you, or how that wise advice, their sage wisdom, actually played out in something that manifested beautifully in your business. And so I hope you can see just the difference between mindset and an action. There is a mindfulness, there's an attitude of mindfulness that gratitude does that goes well beyond just the here and the now. It's how you live. It's a lifestyle. Two more differences between gratitude and thanks. One is obligatory and the other is voluntary. So if somebody gives you a gift you didn't really want, somebody offers you tea in Florida that you didn't ever really want, you say thank you out of politeness. You say thank you out of politeness. But that's obligatory, right? You'd rather have your water because you prefer your cases of water over tea. You're not a tea drinker, you're a coffee drinker. Oh gosh. But so that's thanks, right? So thank you, Shanae, for thanking me while nodding furiously inside that you don't want it. You receive a handwritten letter from someone and you feel genuinely grateful for the time and the thought they invested in reaching out to you, or maybe even coming down, right, to talk business and strengthen relationship, right? And that feeling you get, that's gratitude. But it's not obligatory to express that. It's voluntary. And the last one I have is external versus internal. This is so funny because this was entirely different than what I had actually set out to talk about. But I think it's important in business we understand that even as we interact with vendors, partners, team, the way that you express your appreciation, gratitude versus thanks, is going to have a difference in how long-term the impact is that you have on someone in doing that. And it's not to say that thanks doesn't belong either. It absolutely does. But there is an attitude of mindfulness that we're trying to cultivate with gratitude. So external versus internal. It's a social norm to say thanks to the cashier after making a purchase, and I use a lot of retail and things like this because they're these brief encounters that you have, but everybody knows what it means to have good customer service, poor customer service, and then to be one with integrity, that no matter what kind of customer service you get, you operate and behave in a certain fashion that really shows who you are, what you're made out of, right? So it's a norm to say thanks to the cashier. That's thankfulness. Gratitude, after a day out with someone who made you laugh, forget your worries, you feel an internal warmth and appreciation for their companionship. And I think even just acknowledging that to yourself, having that kind of gratitude, is really healthy. So thumbs up or heart if you now feel like you're pretty good at identifying the difference between gratitude and thanks. Awesome. So at its core, because we're always coming back to mindfulness, it's about being fully present in the current moment, and you're observing your experiences without judgment. That's why gratitude is an attitude of mindfulness. Because to feel genuine gratitude, you have to be present and recognize and appreciate the blessings, the kindness, and even beauty that you're experiencing. And that requires you to be attuned and aware of the present moment. And then, of course, when life throws you curveballs, practicing gratitude without constantly comparing or setting these conditions, being thankful for what you have without judging it against what others have or what you had or should have or whatever. So that non-judgmental observation comes in when you are practicing gratitude as well. So that's a mindful observation, seeing things as they are without labeling or judging them, and accepting the present moment wholly. And so mindfulness doesn't have to mean you are labeling experiences as positive or negative necessarily, but you are aware of what's happening around you. And gratitude is seeking and acknowledging the good in life, even during those challenging times. So mindfulness is the opposite of turning it off and ignoring what's happening in the world, even the negative. And gratitude is looking at something and saying, even though this wasn't what I expected, even though this is very difficult, even though my business is changing and I don't know what's ahead, I'm going to align myself. I'm going to have this affirmative mindset and look at the silver lining and appreciate everything, regardless of everything that's happening, the circumstances. And I asked Shankar, what do you think is the difference between a grateful business person and one that's not? And he said the non-grateful business person isn't in business because they give up. And it's true. It's true. And I asked, why do you think that is? And he said, because there's always something going on. There's always things to worry about. There's always things to ruminate over. There's always something. But you have to go deep within yourself and find the silver lining, find the things that are working, lean into that, and encourage yourself to keep going. I promised you a little bit of science, so I'm going to go into just a little bit of the science of gratitude in context. And I'll just say, there are MRI studies that show expressing gratitude activates reward and moral processing regions in the brain. What does that mean? You basically get a hit of dopamine and serotonin, and that boosts your mood. What happens, research also shows, that gratitude increases the activity in the areas that are involved in the decision making. So now we're talking about the influence of cognitive functions and your choices. In general, gratitude places you far beyond the negative things that are happening, that you're able to make clearer decisions because you are not emotionally disturbed to the point where your physiology changes and you are not clear-headed, and you can make better decisions because you're taking a little bit more time to think beyond the short term. And so that's just one understanding that we have, the science connected to the gratitude, of how to actually boost your dopamine and serotonin, which boosts your mood. What else? Motivation, of course. Goal completion, which is super important for those that are in business, right? We're super driven by goals. And when we practice gratitude, we're strengthening our motivation so that we can complete those goals. There's data that also shows we should have gratitude as a top priority in business. And if you're wondering how or why specifically, it boosts team morale, which boosts cooperation and innovation, because when people are motivated, creativity starts to flow. And then we have studies that show workplace cultures of gratitude increase peer support and, get this, decrease mistreatment. Did you know when you refrain from showing appreciation in a business context, you can actually damage people? They feel mistreated I shouldn't say you damage them, but that's the interpretation. The receiving end is they're more stressed, they feel less valued, they're not satisfied because you're just not showing that you appreciate them, or you're not doing it in their language. And one day we'll have to have an entire discussion over that, because that really matters to me, that we speak the language of the person. And it's not always a high five or a good job. Some people want to know that you actually looked at their work at all, or just acknowledge it. If you ask me to do something and then I do it and you don't even acknowledge, and I'm not even evaluating the good or the bad, what incentive do I have to continue to complete what you're asking me to do? Because it's not even acknowledged or looked at anyway. And as business owners, as leaders in business, it gets really difficult sometimes, because in our head we're like, oh, that's great, wonderful, they did that. And you move on, but you never express it. And it's not limited to your team. Gratitude also drives customer retention and loyalty. Feeling sincerely valued builds psychological bonds between businesses and patrons. We have research that confirms customer retention dramatically improves when people feel genuinely appreciated, not just casually thanked, but genuinely appreciated. And finally, when you practice gratitude, you're building resilience during challenges. And we have evidence of that too, that by pausing to focus on your blessings and the progress made, entrepreneurs maintain motivation in difficult times. Count your fortune, count your blessings, both large and small. And it will provide this powerful perspective shift. And so I'm going to go back to gratitude versus superficial thanks, which, again, there's times for thanks, but I have to emphasize gratitude is far more than just perfunctory gestures of thanks. It's an emotional state and a mindset, which I alluded to earlier. It's not just an action, and it's not hollow. And if you know of Tom's, kind of controversial, but the founder of Tom's, the shoe company, he shows gratitude to his partners by giving actual equity and not just thank you. And that's top tier king class when you can do that, when you're there, where you can actually give equity. But what matters most is the appreciation in all of this. Just going to give you some of my thoughts. If you have staff that you're over, check in on them and share your appreciation for them. Or maybe talk about the progress that you've seen, whatever. And that kind of sets a positive tone. I know I do this naturally in the meetings that we have, and it's one of the things that I'm always told is something that they love the most. You can never show appreciation too much, unless it's fake. Then, of course. Send those cards, those notes to also your customers. Check in on them. We have a client who, I think it's every 90 days, correct me if I'm wrong, Shanae, Shankar, every 90 days they have a check-in with their customer. That is also showing appreciation. And I would love it if we did that a little bit more and not just take people's business for granted either. If there's some way where we can encourage people to talk about overcoming their failures, celebrating wins, even if they're small, that helps to foster a growth mindset, peer recognition. There's all kinds of ways to cultivate gratitude, but I hope that some of that has helped you to expand your thinking a little bit. Go beyond the thanks, go for gratitude. And I will open the floor, Shanae, Shankar, and then I have a few more questions to close out the quiz, see how you do, and then we'll end with some affirmations. And I know they're both busy today, so I'm just going to go straight into the quiz. Stop me if you have something you want to say, either of you or someone who wants to come to the stage. But Here we go. During a conference, a fellow business owner shares some quick advice and you nod in appreciation. Is that thanks or gratitude? Thumbs up or heart? Oh, a few more. I'll say it again. During a conference, a fellow business owner shares some quick advice and you nod in appreciation. You nod in appreciation. Is that thanks or gratitude? We all got it. Yes. Thanks. Reflecting on the year, which we'll all be doing very soon, you think about a mentor or an advisor whose guidance not only benefited the business, but also significantly influenced your growth as a leader. You're reflecting on it. You're thinking of it. Is this thanks or gratitude? Awesome. Yes, it is gratitude. Couple more. Your assistant reschedules a meeting as per your request and you acknowledge their efficiency. You acknowledge it. Thanks or gratitude? This one's kind of difficult. Thanks or gratitude? It's thanks, yes. And lastly, as you walk through your office after hours, let's all laugh together because we're not in offices. You feel a profound sense of responsibility and appreciation for the team that believes in your vision and works hard to bring it to fruition. Gratitude or thanks? Yes. Yeah, so I think everyone now has got a little bit more of a handle and is able to differentiate between these everyday acts of acknowledgement, which are still good, it's thanks, and the deeper heartfelt appreciation, which is gratitude. And I'm so grateful that we could have this conversation because I think being more connected to that depth of emotion and is going to really help us balance our perspective on life. On life, it's very grounding to see the bigger picture. And you can nurture some of your relationships with your customers too. Go ahead and reach out to them and thank them and be grateful for them and think about them. All right. I think we are ready for some affirmations on gratitude. So just take a few breaths. Think of a few things you're grateful for. Really grateful for. And repeat after me whenever you're ready. Every day, I find things to be grateful for. Gratitude fills my heart and nourishes my soul. The more thankful I am, the more beauty I see in the world around me. Every breath I take, I'm reminded of the precious gift of life. I'm grateful for the abundance in my life, both seen and unseen. Each challenge I face offers an opportunity for gratitude and growth. I'm grateful for every moment, for it is a gift. The universe supports and nurtures me as I express gratitude. Gratitude transforms my perspective and opens doors. Every experience in my life has shaped me, and I am grateful for each one. I am thankful for the love and support that surrounds me. My heart is a garden, and gratitude is the seed that blossoms into happiness. Imagine standing at the edge of a lake with the waters reflecting the colors of the sky, the early morning sky, and all around you is calm and peace. Take deep breaths, feeling the fresh air in your lungs. And with every exhale, release any tension, any stress. Let it go. Let it melt into the lake, far from you, leaving you with serenity. And think of what you're grateful for, deeply grateful for. As you focus on the feeling of gratitude, imagine a warm, golden light emanating from your heart. Feel it grow warmer and brighter with every grateful thought you have. Let that light expand, enveloping your entire body, stretching out, touching everything in its path. Everything is glowing with gratitude around you and in you. Now bring yourself back to the present moment. Hopefully your heart is full. I'm going to take this time to thank you and express my gratitude, deep gratitude for you spending time with us this morning or this afternoon, wherever you are. Hope you make gratitude an active practice in your life today and every day. And remember to be mindful in everything that you do. Hope to see you at the challenge for day 3, yougrow.club. Click any one of our faces and go. And we'll see you back here tomorrow, 7 a.m. Have a beautiful, mindful day. Bye-bye.